Hello, awesome artist. We have been talking about an artist named James Rizzi. James Rizzi is known for his unique cityscape artworks. He is originally from New York City, where he draws inspiration for his cityscapes. We looked at several of his artworks and noticed something different about his cities. He uses different kinds of faces and themes to create his cityscape. We are going to be working on our own cityscape today, and you can think of a different theme that you want to use. Maybe you want to draw funny faces on your cityscape, or maybe you want to think of a theme like a food city or a superhero city, or anything that you can think of. We're going to be looking at some different steps to help us draw our cityscape. Here's one cityscape that I already worked on. I drew out the buildings first, and then I added the faces and windows and doors. So to start off our cityscape, we're going to draw rectangles. Now maybe you're doing a different kind of theme, so you want to draw them in different shapes. But I'm going to just do rectangles. So I'm going to start from one edge of my paper. Maybe you want to do an animal city theme. Anything that you think of would be great. So I drew one row of rectangles. Now I'm going to draw a second row of rectangles up here in my middle ground to create the middle ground area. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about some fun faces that I could add to my city. We looked at some different faces in class, and I have a sheet with examples. So think about different faces that you could draw to make your cityscape unique and fun. Maybe you want to make some of your buildings into animals. That's an idea as well. So the next step would to be go through and make all of my buildings into faces. So after we finish that, the last step is to add doors and windows to our buildings. And you can do that however you want. I'm using a black crayon. You can use a pencil if you want, or if you want to use different colors, that's an idea as well. I just thought I would use black. The last step after this is for us to paint the cityscape with watercolors, or you could use colored pencils or markers to color it in. And of course, have fun. Hello, awesome artists. This is part 2 of our James Rizzi cityscape. I finished drawing out my whole cityscape during our first class together, and it took quite a bit of time. But today I'm going to work on painting the cityscape. I have my watercolors here, and I have a little bit of water in my cup. Of course, we want to be careful if we're using it around our computer. We want to make sure we have proper amount of space between us and our water cup and paint set. So if you do not have paints at home, that is totally fine. You can use colored pencils or markers, but I just wanted to give you the option to paint your cityscape if you wanted to. So in some of these parts, I'm going to try and be really careful because I want to keep the eyes white. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Watercolor is all about using the right amount of water, and I like to add it little by little so that I can keep it under control. Also, a great thing about watercolors is if you use crayons, and you can just paint right over the crayon and it will resist the paint. It will stay right on the paper. Whereas if you use markers, the water will kind of make it bleed, like spread and bleed on the paper. So I'm going to take some time to work on painting my buildings. Again, if you don't have paint, or if you're not feeling like using paint, maybe you want to use markers and colored pencils. That is an option as well. And of course, have fun.